Avoiding this disaster seemed impossible.
Hey guys, it's your girl Leslie, and today we are reading Vigelante, Deku, or Zukumadoria, Chapter 3, because, I guess, week 2 of quarantine check. Like, literally, I'm still at the house, bored to death, so we're gonna start reading this. And guys, I know we've all been suffering, probably being in quarantine right now. I'm suffering that for real. So I feel like I'm improving on editing TikTok compilations that I've been doing. So hopefully you guys are enjoying those. Anyway, I just hope you guys enjoy this story because I really enjoy it myself, guys. Please, guys, whenever you find the story, please give the author a star, comment, I encourage you, And yes, I'm still reading the story up to the date, because I just read the new update it just had today, and new update's probably gonna come soon. So yeah, like I said, I've been reading the story way before I introduced it to you guys, so yeah, just let you know. Anyways, Chapter 3, Notes. Shinso groaned, blinking as the haze in his vision cleared. He found himself staring at the roof of a bus. Utterly confused, he managed to sit up, rubbing his bruised ribs as he coughed. "You're awake?" A voice next to him rang out. Shinso turned his head as he looked at the person beside him, not sure what to expect. He definitely wasn't expecting to see a boy wearing goggles and a green hoodie with a metallic mask hanging around his neck, sitting on the ground in a corner. The same guy who saved him from the bullies. Shinso blinked again, trying to understand what's going on. "You're in my home. You were saved. You were being bullied yesterday, and I saved you. And you passed out." And the boy immediately clamped his hands over his mouth, muffling his words. He took a deep breath before sighing. "Sorry. I'm sure you're pretty confused right now. I'll give you some time to think things over. I'll be back in 5. With that, the boy got up and walked out of the room, which was covered in a lot of windows for some reason. Even though there wasn't any light entering the room from the outside, the light in the room came from the strips of lights on the ceiling, and even the ceiling looked way too low for it to be a regular house. Shinso blinked, looking across the room, trying to take in his surroundings. He was lying in some sort of mattress, and his bag was leaned against the wall next to him. What looked like his uniform was folded and placed on the table across the room. He just realized he wasn't wearing his shirt, his wallet, and his keys, which were originally in his pant pockets, were sitting on his uniform. The boy came back into the room, carefully placing a glass of water and a loaf of bread beside the purple-headed student. "Here, you passed out for a while, so you're probably a bit thirsty. Also, it's Saturday, so don't worry about school." Shinso greedily gulped down the water before sighing. He took a good look at the boy, realizing that his bullies were right and looked exactly like the media described him as, except he was short, really short. And Shinso was not expecting his kind of attitude from the Vigilante, rumored to have taken down quite a few of the rougher ruffians on the streets. Shinso remained silent. Years of mistreatment from his family and classmates conditioned him to remain silent and to not talk unless it was necessary. He even refused to look at him in the eye and opted to stare at his empty glass. You don't need permission to talk." The boy must have been picked on thoughts, and Shinto looked up at the boy. I don't? The boy snorted. Your quirk is response-based, I guess. I swear. I have no idea what's wrong with the children these days. Shinso mutely nodded before asking, Are you really Izuki? The boy lightened up and laughed. Yeah, I'm Izuki. I have a real name, but a number of reasons why I won't tell you. And you are? Shinso blinked. Izuki had clearly taken his wallet out of his pocket, so why didn't he know his name? Personal stuff. Don't worry about it. I don't like snooping into other people's things unless they're bad. Izuki grinned. Ah, that was his reason. Shinso Hitoshi. Sorry if I said his last name wrong. All right. Izuki procured another bottle of water for himself from somewhere and sipped it. Both of them remained quiet for a while before Shinso spoke up. So, why did you save me? It was the right thing to do. Plus, I don't like bullies, Izuki said as he pulled his mask back onto his face, immediately changing his voice to something slightly deeper. He then pulled his goggles up to rest on his forehead, and Chiso caught sight of the bright green eyes looking back at him. What happened? I want to be a hero, but because of my quirk, my classmates say I should be a villain. Izuki frowned, and Shinso could see the emerald eyes gleaming in anger. I heard those damned kids say that. What quirk do you have? Izuki asked. Brainwashing quirk. Shinso looked away, refusing to look Izuki in the eyes. After all, he was so nice. Why would he want to associate with a person with a villainous quirk? He froze. Izuki already knew his quirk was something responded-based and still wanted to hold a conversation with him and allowed him to speak freely? Shinso couldn't help himself, and he blurted out, Don't you think they're right? That I should be a villain with this quirk? That it's useless for me to try to be a hero? That Shinso stopped abruptly when he saw Izuki looking at him intensely as he flinched. Trust me when I say this. I use these to be able to listen to things more clearly and from a further distance. Izuki dug two things out of his ears, and Shinso blinkily realized that his quirk didn't even work on Izuki because of them. Izuki was going to kill him, and he wouldn't be able to do anything, and Izuki slammed his earpieces on the ground, crushing them to metal shards. Shinso jumped at the sound and stared at Izuki incredulously. He had just destroyed the only thing that kept him safe from his quirk. Your quirk is amazing. Imagine there's a hostage situation and you could just brainwash a villain into letting go. You can convince someone to prevent them from committing suicide. Izuki got up and squatted down in front of the stunned boy. Shinso curled in on himself on instinct, bracing himself for whatever Izuki might do to him. He didn't expect Izuki to gently ruffle his purple fluffy hair. Stop doubting yourself, Shinso. You can be a hero. That was all it took for all the walls Shinso had put up to protect himself from everyone's harsh words, to rein in his emotions, and to not let anyone know how hurt he was, to crumble, and he couldn't stop himself from incautiously leaning into Izuku's touch and crying into Izuki's hoodie. Time skip, I believe. You want to train me? Shinso's eyes widened at Izuki's offer. Izuki nodded. Your quirk is powerful, but if you want to get into UA, and I'm assuming you do because that's the best hero school in Eastern Japan, you need to train. The UA exam is made for flashy and destructive quirks. And while I say it's it's practical because of a sheer number of applicants they have this every year, it is not fair to those like you, who have powerful but non-offensive quirks. And from what I've heard, you have to fight robots. A brainwashing quirk definitely won't get you anywhere. But if you train and get stronger, you'll have a chance at getting into the hero course. Unless you want to get into the general study course and transfer in via the sports festival. His own childish curiosity that had been suppressed for so long, combined with the fact that Izuki practically said he was free to talk, took over, and he couldn't help from blurting out. But you're a vigilante, right? And you have villains to catch and heroes to chase after. And heroes chase after you. Why help me when you have so many other things on your plate? See? You're thinking of others and putting them before yourself. Izuki was probably grinning behind his mask. I had the same dream. I wanted to be a hero, but because of my unfortunate circumstances, I lost the chance. There's no way I can ever enter a school, let alone become a hero. Izuki sighed before asking, Are you still willing to let me train you? Shinso nodded. Yeah. So, where do you live? Izuki asked. Why do you need to know where I live? Shinso groaned, his ribs still aching, but not as much as before. You have school, and I'm not gonna train you in my house. The alley I picked you up is in also a far distance from here, Izuki replied. Plus, I'm personally trying to keep as much personal information about me as a secret as far as possible. Ah, Shinso nodded. I can bring you there. All right, I'll have to blindfold you, though. I'm not letting you know where I live. Not even you. Well, anyone. Sorry, guys. From then on, the duo had a schedule. On Mondays to Fridays, Midori would train Shinso on strengthening his muscles or working on his stamina. Saturday afternoons were for training him on different fighting techniques. To let Shinso get used to working several kinds of things of muscles at once. And Sunday mornings were for them to discuss how to better utilize his quirk in battle. Shinso did start to worry about Izuki, though. He spent all his time out of school with him, teaching him and training him. He would spend the night patrolling and catching villains. He really wondered when the vigilante slept, hopefully while he was in school. Any luck on finding Absorber? Yamada asked. Aizawa asked Aizawa as he sighed and shook his head. Absorber was a decently new hero who had the power of shock absorption and had disappeared mysteriously a week ago. Nezu is getting worried. Absorber isn't the first person to disappear and definitely won't be the last. Aizawa groaned, plopping himself onto the sofa. There were cases of people disappearing, but it had escalated until a person disappeared each week. The only thing in common being with those with powerful quirks. Heroes are also amongst those kidnapped. About a month ago, Generate, a reckless hero with regeneration abilities that graduated from Shiksu High School a few years ago, has also disappeared. Nezu assumed that all of these disappearances cases were connected. What about your little vigilante son? Yamada asked, trying to keep a straight face, but eventually burst into laughter when Aizawa let out an exaggerated groan. Yamada himself hadn't had any contact with Izuki, but he did know that he liked to pass Aizawa information about villains, either through indirect means like hidden in villains' pockets or dumping them with Chisachi. Each time, his information had been vital to stopping some dangerous and some illegal cases. And Yamada's respect for the vigilante had increased tenfold. Even though what he did was technically illegal, he did still manage to save people by passing on information on locations, on cases that he deemed too much for him to handle. Stop calling him that. That little rascal is a pain. As Awa groaned as his phone vibrated, he dug out his phone and he stared at the message he had received. "Who is it?" Yamada asked, leaning over the couch to peer at Aizawa's phone. The message was from someone labeled Green Brat. There were 5 short sentences, followed by a series of numbers and a picture. "Your shift ended? Sorry. Check pockets? Important. Open in private place." The picture of a crusher, a villain that could turn his skin into rock, knocked out with his wrist tied up with a cable tie. Yamada raised an eyebrow, and it took a few seconds for the pro heroes to realize that the string of numbers were coordinates. "So, want to find out what the green bean left for us?" Lucky for them, it didn't take long for Aizawa and Yamada to find the downed villain. In fact, it just happened to be in the alleyway a few roads down from their house. President Mick called the police to pick up the villain while Aizawa searched through the villain's pockets. Finally, he managed to find a dumb drive in the villain's back pocket. There was a note attached to it. "Security password is the truth, but not true." Aizawa had to suppress a groan, and what just happened to spot a blur of green that leapt over the alleyway. "And you tried to open it?" Nezu asked. He called up Aizawa in his office after he notified him about the thumb drive and the warning the vigilante had sent him. "No, security in UA is the best, and I'm not risking whatever is in there being compromised. Izuki doesn't give us anything unless it's important." Aizawa blinked. Nezu knew of Izuki's information passing habits, having been one to sometimes compile the sheer mass of information for any of it to be useful. Nezu nodded, opening the file that was contained in the thumb drive. "The first letter of the letter is the letter to use." "What?" Yamada gasped at the screen. "What does that even mean?" Nezu thought about it for a while before asking. "Aizawa, you said you got a note with it." Aizawa nodded, taking the letter out of his pocket and passing it to Nezu. Nezu stared at the letter, then at the computer, then back at the letter for a good 5 minutes before he clasped his paws and laughed. He quickly typed the words in an 8-letter password. SP, capital S, capital P, that word. The password was accepted. Nezu grinned. What does that even mean? Yamada almost shrieked, but Aizawa stopped his quirk in time. "He passed you a letter. The first letter of each word in your letter is a letter in the password." Nezu smiled up at the 2 gaw-keeping pro heroes, though one didn't show it as much as the other. Aizawa hid his face in his scarf and groaned. "Go on and teach. I'll go through these." Nezu grinned, patting both heroes on the back. "Nezu, I spelled all of my students, remember? Well then, maybe you can talk to Power Loader without making the entrance exam robots more suited for less offensive quirks, since you're so passionate about that." "What's going on, Nezu? You never hold an important meeting," Count asked, sitting down into his chair. The rest of his colleagues were close trickling in. "We have received some important information that we feel the need to share with you. On your desk are a stack of quirks and fighting style weaknesses and possible ways to cover them up for the time being. And some students here," Nezu said, as everyone started flipping through the 10-ish page stack that was sitting quietly in front of them. "When did you have the time to do all this?" Kamiya asked, flipping all through the papers. And I'm not so sure you called a meeting just to tell us that we have to improve what we have to improve on. Oh, I didn't compile them. The way Nezu spoke had them all on edge. These were sent to me via Azila. Wait, who sent it? All of them were worried. Someone had observed them enough to pick every single weakness that could be exploited in a fight. And they were teamed, or when they were teamed with someone, and for some reason decided to send it to them. Izuki, weird name, groaned. Who does that kid think he is? He can't just tell us, oh, hey, you guys are weak, like he's some important power loader. Everyone turned to Aizawa, who never said a thing in meetings. If he spoke up, then they were definitely serious. I assure you that this is not some logical ruse from the Vigilante. Even if he does things against the law, he has helped in taking down several villain groups, and he does not do things unless he knows it is out of his power to do so. Basically, you're saying you're willing to vouch for him, Ken said incredulously. Aizawa sighed. They were going to need proof. Remember that case last year? The one with 150 kidnapped children to be shipped off and sold? and the whatever, Yakuza that was trying to make that quirk drug and that group of villains that destroyed buildings? Aizawa spoke in monotone. Everyone nodded. Those are events that the eraser hero had taken part in. And Ken asked, so, what does the Vigilante have to do with them? He fed us the information. Nezu grinned. Notes on their quirks and the weaknesses and the layouts of their hideouts. Important information that was vital to their takedown. Izuki gave it to us. We wouldn't even know these events were taking place if not for him. Izuki doesn't give us information for no reason. If it's too much for him to handle, and he decides it's necessary for Nezu to interfere, then it's something big. Nezu then immediately brought up a folder with several pictures in it. I doubt any of you want to see these, but these are pictures of the missing heroes. Dead. They were heavily brutalized, and I couldn't even recognize them if the pictures weren't labeled. Izuki believes that there is something more than just people disappearing. Nezu continued opening a document. Assuming that Eraserhead took the Strom drive to Nezu, either because the school's security is strong, or because he tried to open the drive and couldn't get past the password. People are disappearing, and I'm worried for you guys. I personally like Eraserhead and the rest of the UA teachers, and I don't think he wants to lose any of his colleagues, so I compiled some information for you to protect your weak spots. I have a gut feeling that they'll go after you guys for your quirks. I'll send you more concrete information when I get it. Just please be careful. Regards, Izuki. Personally, I was also suspecting more to all of these disappearances, Nezu sighed. I don't want to lose any of you. Even if Izuki is wrong about them coming after us, people are still going missing at a much faster rate than before, heroes or not. I also wish for you guys to better yourselves so that you can not only protect yourselves but other people. You're all free to go. Okay, guys, so that was literally freaking chapter 3, and that was 23 freaking minutes. And y'all, oh my lord, too much for me to handle. That was like a lot to read, y'all. Oh Lord, baby Jesus, y'all lucky I want to read another chapter. This is complicated, y'all, so my tongue might be slurred or anything, or I might slur some words, I might mess up or anything, or sorry. I'm just not used to reading that fast or that much, so I only mostly read silently, so yeah, it's rare for me to read out loud unless it's for you guys, so yeah. Anyways, continuing, chapter 4, Bakugo. Bakugo hated everything. He hated how everyone treated Midoriya. He hated how Midoriya would let other people bully him because he was quirkless. All for what? To look cool? What's so cool about ganging up on a helpless little boy who wanted nothing more than to help other people? Midoriya was not no normal kid. Even at a young age, he was smart. He learned things way faster than other kids and made connections where no one thought possible. If he wasn't officially declared quirkless by the doctor, he would have thought Midoriya had an intelligence-boosting quirk. Except that Midoriya was officially declared quirkless. Bakugo definitely knew that Midoriya could still be a hero. He knew that he had to be able to fight without his quirk. He couldn't be too reliant on it, after all. He couldn't say the same for Midoriya. He was too nice, too naive, too willing to believe that he could talk things out. He was too willing to protect himself and others to think about attacking offensively. Bakugo didn't want to watch his best friend become a hero, only to die because he was unwilling to attack a villain. Bakugo was reclusive. All of his classmates from preschool were in his elementary school, all the way up to middle school. He had no idea what kind of god he had pissed off to ensure that he was stuck with the same extras throughout his entire life. Probably the ones that didn't want him to push Midoriya away as well. He didn't care much for them, only Midoriya. Others just followed him around because of his awesome quirk. Midoriya followed around because they were friends, and he wanted to repair the relationship that Bakugo had intentionally shattered. Up until now, Bakugo refused to make friends with anyone else, especially not those who constantly put him down. He exploded all the time. Midoriya's death had made something in him snap. He was always angry. Angry at the world that killed off an innocent child like him. Angry that the world had people that refused to accept some people just because they didn't have quirks and treated them like they were trash. Bakugo was lost in his thoughts. Where had he gone wrong? He wanted to push Midoriya, tell him if he wanted to become a hero. He couldn't continue letting himself being pushed around by others. And what did he end up telling Midoriya? You can't be a hero when you're both quirkless and useless. Bakugo scratched the back of his head, looking back on it. Not the best choice for wording it. He would definitely see how that statement could be misprinted in so many ways. He wanted to tell Midoriya that if he trained and stopped letting other people take advantage of him, he could still be a hero. Midoriya probably interpreted as his dreams of being a hero being shattered, because he was powerless, because no one believed in him, because no one would give him a chance, because even his best friend said he couldn't. Bakugo wasn't willing to give up on Midoriya, on Deku, the adorable little boy who had given him everything to save, who would give anything to save others. Y'all don't mind my voice quivering because this makes me extremely sad, bro. Don't mind me crying in the corner after this. Okay, let's see. The adorable little boy who would give anything to save others. The only person that Bakugo swore to protect if he couldn't protect himself. He had asked his mother if a quirkless person could become a hero. She said no. He asked his teachers if a quirkless person could become a hero. They said no. He asked Inko if he thought Midoriya could become a hero. She snapped at him, yelled at him for being delusional, shouted that even a weak, useless quirk was better than being quirkless. She had then proceeded to slam the door in his face. Up until now, Bakugo found her reaction weird. Inko had always been kind, happy, never once raising her voice, only until Deku was declared quirkless. Bakugo had realized that Deku came to school with more bruises, maybe cuts, a split lip, or a black eye. One question, Deku said that he had been beating up on the way to school. Bakugo accepted it. After all, Deku was bullied all the time. But Deku refused to give up the name of his attackers, even then threatened to be exploded. Bakugo's head was in the clouds. He didn't even realize that something had followed him as the downed a soda that he had got from a corner shop. The sewers behind him exploded. A green slimy hand immediately covered his face. On instinct, his hand exploded. Oh, a pretty powerful quirk, eh? You'll make a perfectly good vessel. A voice drawled. And Bakugo wanted the monster villain to just fuck off. He was suffocating. What a way to go. He could barely see Cammy Woods and Death Arm standing a few meters away, but not doing anything to help. God damn it. He wasn't going to die before becoming a hero. That would be a huge insult to Deku. Midoriya was prowling on the rooftops again. He was waiting for Shinso to get out of school so he could help him train more. The kid was getting pretty good at martial arts and had a decent strength. Midoriya was certain Shinso would be able to get into UA. After all, they still had 10 more months until the entrance exam. Plenty of time to brush up on Shinso's weak points and maybe teach him how to use a few makeshift weapons. He heard a few explosions a few blocks away and went over to investigate. He saw a sludge monster, one that he had been tracking down for a while. Despite being a Class D villain, Midoriya did not like how he just suffocated people to death. He saw Death Arms and Cammy Woods. He didn't want to blow his cover. At least they were heroes, but they weren't doing anything. Surely, they weren't thinking of waiting for someone with a more suitable quirk to appear. Midoriya wanted to facepalm. They were heroes. Their society revolved around quirks. Even if their quirks weren't really compatible to fight this particular villain, Midoriya could think of many ways to use their quirks to fight. Maybe even aim for the gigantic yellow eye. That definitely looked gooey and non-solid. Midoriya was going to find another villain before another loud explosion echoed on the hallway. His first thought was, Kacchan! He didn't know what to think of his childhood friend. Sure, he kept tabs on him, just to make sure he was fine. Kacchan had always put him down, but Midoriya knew that he meant something else altogether. His explosive mother was definitely not a good role model when it came to impressing themselves. Kacchan had also taken to protecting him. Every time someone had beaten him up, Kacchan was there to beat them back. Even if his classmates told him to kill himself, Bakugo went ballistic on them, shaking them up, yelling swear words at them till they dropped. Bakugo and Midoriya had a complicated relationship, but Midoriya wouldn't have it any other way. And when he caught a glimpse of a red eye, he looked around desperately for help. Midoriya couldn't stop himself. Izuki shot forward, nailing the sludge monster in the eye with his foot. Wailing, the monster had loosened his grip on Bakugo, and Izuki took that chance to wrangle the explosive teen out of the sludge monster's grasp. Bakugo slumped onto the ground harshly, and Cammy would rush over protectively to shield him from the sludge villain. But now, Izuki was within arm's reach of the villain. You, he hissed, you're always in the way. You're the one suffocating people, Izuki hissed back, as the sludge monster wrapped himself around the smaller boy. You're really annoying, you know, the villain snapped, reaching over to pull off Izuku's goggles and crushing them under. under their sludgy foot. I wonder if you can catch me blind. I wonder if you can kill me if you're blind. Izuki snapped, using his free hand to deliver a nasty punch in the eye. The villain howled in pain, and Izuki swiped off the slime and landed beside Cammy Woods. Izuki caught sight of those shining green eyes filled with determination. Deku. You know, I made some times in hopes of taking you down. It's just a prototype, but hopefully you like your gift, Izuki yelled, digging out some of his belt pouch and throwing a small, button-sized device at the sludge monster. Electricity erupted from the device. It didn't seem to harm the monster much. He did seem mildly annoyed. Bakugo noticed that he did seem more solid looking than before. Bah, that barely harmed me at all, the villain sneered maliciously. Huh? Izuki mocked in the pretense of confusion. Well, does this hurt? He lunged at the mouth of the sludge, digging his heel right into the villain's chest as he hammered him with a roundhouse kick. A loud snap was heard as the villain was sent flying backwards into a wall. He groaned, struggling to sit up, as a loud whoosh was heard. Now, young one, everything will be fine, for now I am here. Izuki scoffed as a sharp gust of wind flew past him, spiraling in the alleyway like a small cyclone. A powerful blast of wind swept his hood flying. Izuki yelped. Memories flew into his mind. Memories that he knew were there, but he had always ignored. Memories of his classmates, his parents, his teachers, telling him how useless he was. Now how he was a burden, how he was trash, how he should have killed himself when he had the chance. Shakily, he jerked his hood back onto his head. He sighed as he slowly slipped all the negative thoughts to the back of his head, and his breathing evened out. Luckily, everyone was staring at All Might in awe and didn't even seem to notice his little breakdown, all except for one person, Kachan. Izuki took the small distraction All Might provided and climbed up a pipe before backflipping over a railing into the roof. He heard a loud "Izuku" as he ran off. What connection do you have to the Vigilante? Cammy Woods asked, grabbing the explosive boy by the arm as he attempted to chase down the Vigilante. That couldn't have been Deku, right? Deku died. His father killed him and Inko, in a fire that made their house explode. No way Deku survived. They just look similar, right? Green eyes, green hair were uncommon, but not that uncommon, right? Nothing. He reminded me of my childhood friend. He looked similar. He died a long time ago. He was quirkless. Poco swallowed some. Damn it, you're making me cry too, man. I'm an emotional person. Don't judge me, y'all. Let's try not to cry during this. Continuing. Bakugo swallowed some bile that threatened to make it up his way. It's up way to his throat. Sorry to hear about that, kid. I'm sure your friend is happy you survived this. Pretty sure that damned Izuki brat has some sort of quirk, even if he doesn't show it. Even if he's not dumb enough to run into a fight quirkless. Kasumi pat his arm on Bakugo's back, but all Bakugo could hear was a confirmation that yes, the world still puts down those who are quirkless, because they had some extra toe joint or lacked of some weird superpower that used to make humans. Yeah, my friend was also really smart. I apologize, young man. I was tracking that villain before he managed to get away. If I had gotten him sooner, you would have not been assaulted. All Might somehow managed to seek out the blonde explosive boy. All Might, I have a question. Bakugo started. Do you think that a quirkless person could be a hero? Young man, pro heroes are always risking their lives. I cannot simply say that you can be a hero even without power, but why does that matter to you? You have a quirk. On my ass, it's for a friend. Bakugo hastily wiped off the tears that threatened to fall. Thank you for answering my question, All Might. As he ran home, he bit his lip. There was a world that ridiculed against the quirkless. Bakugo would become a good hero for Deku. Lord baby Jesus, y'all cannot tell me that did not make you at least have a tear in your eye. Because, like, bruh, that's sad. And, like, being fully honest, that's just plain disappointing and sad. And I feel like this story is not only true, but I feel like this is true even for the real My Hero Academia. Because, I mean, if you really think about it, most of what it's like mostly not a fanfic. It's mostly true to the anime, you know? Mostly true, except, like, the Vigilante stuff. And you know what? I'm crying to death, like, inside. I'm so dead inside right now because I personally, like, if we did have a world like this, I would want to never be born in a world like that. Never. Because I don't think it'll be worth living a world like that doesn't accept people that are basically normal humans. Like, why? But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more amazing videos, guys. I'm crying a little bit because I am very sad and disappointed, you know, because, like, if I was Bakugo, I'd be disappointed as well. And you know what? I'd be sad, too. I'd be upset. I'd be traumatized. I'd be sad. You know? To me, like, he's just trying to do this for, like, you know, it gets really sad, you know, and it makes me want to, like, it makes my voice quiver and just makes me want to cry, but, you know, I can't. I mean, it might just be a story, but, you know, if this actually happened in real life, I would for real cry. I would for real cry, bro. Don't mind me crying in the damn corner. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Please remember, I will put a link in the description for the story. And guys, if you have any more suggestions of anything, please let me know down in the comments below. And guess what, guys? I am starting a new story. So this story, it is basically My Hero Academia X OC Pearl. I believe there is not going to be any ships. I only wrote about like 4 chapters. So I hope you guys enjoy that. I will also put a link to that story in the description down below. So if you guys want to go check it out, please check it out. And y'all guys can follow me if you want to. If you're gonna ask or anything like that, just follow me if you want to follow me. I don't really care. But yeah, guys, everything else is in the description down below. So, go check all that crap out. Anyways, bye and peace.